Welcome everyone to the virtual Nashville Superspeedway live on the Elite Racing Network. So glad you could join us, and we apologize for joining in late. Some technical difficulties there, but we are nonetheless already under the green flag here in Virtual Music City. Up front, you're taking a look at the current battle for the lead. That's David Tooker, who was the pole setter, just behind his teammate there, the 11 of Massey Weeks, who is in control, Nick Massey in third place. And it's about a 3-car breakaway at the front of the field. Gerald Campbell and Chad Frankenfield, the rest of your top 5. We are in the race number 2 of the round of 9. The only guy that can feel safe at the moment is Tate Lytle with his win last week. He is comfortably in the Championship 4 grid. You're taking a look at the championship standings on your screen right now. Those are the points, and from 2nd through 9th place, they are all very much up for grabs, and so you will need to be able to escape Nashville unscathed with a shot before we go to Charlotte, and perhaps you might be lucky enough just to get that golden ticket and fight for a championship later on. I want to bring in my colleague there, as always, Rashav. Rashav, we are in for a great battle here tonight, and it's go time in this season here. What do we expect from a lot of these guys here as we get into the early stages of this race?
Yeah, it definitely is go time. And yeah, once again, apologies everybody for the late broadcast here. But yeah, now that we're underway here, 14 laps into this event, David Tooker with that pole, Matthew Weeks now leading the way. This is, guys need to start stepping up here. This is the opportunity for them to do so. With Tate Lytle locked into that Championship 4, he's kind of the only breakaway driver we've had this season. The rest of this pack is so close together, so you need to have 2 outstanding races here to pair with your performance at the Monster Mile last week. That's what's going to set you apart, as only 4 of these 9 drivers will advance to fight for a championship. There's a lot on the line for these guys, and you can see right now in this battle for the lead, guys, this top 3, these guys are running really well, and they're names that we expect to see running up front here. Look out for them, as we continue to run.
Something that I consider kind of the wild card of this round is this Nashville Superspeedway here. The Cup Series has actually only been here once, and that was only earlier this year. Kyle Larson, the inaugural winner of the Ally 400 back in June. We are racing the next gen on this car. Just a lot of unknowns heading onto this speedway for iRacing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this, at least for me, I don't believe we've ever run this racetrack before, even here in the Elite Racing Leagues. At least I didn't have it purchased before tonight, so so there you go. But yeah, so brand new track for a lot of these drivers. I think it's one that they're possibly familiar with in the lower series. I feel like we've visited this track in the Xfinity cars, but especially in these Cup cars. Of course, the next gen Cup cars, different style of racing here on a 1.5 mile track like this. So yeah, I mean, definitely a lot to kind of learn there. And I mean, speaking of the track here, not 1.5 miles, 1.3 miles, so kind of a little bit of a weird tweener track there. Pretty standard D-shaped oval here. Keep an eye out. Track temperature pretty high. Don't actually know if that's track temperature or air temp. 109 degrees Fahrenheit. Seems pretty ridiculous. Let's take a look. 109 is track temperature. So there you go. So
I would hope so, because that would be very hot.
Yeah, that'd be pretty brutal. That would be like that'd be an exceptionally hot Nashville summer there, I'm pretty sure. But no. Fortunately for the drivers, they don't really have to worry about that. Matthew Weeks, meanwhile, while we were talking there, just dropped 2 spots behind now David Tooker and Nick Massey. So that's something you've also got to watch out for right now. This package, this far into the race, lap 18 of 150, as the caution flag just comes out, is allowing guys to stay close together, and that's going to make things really interesting, because it's going to be very much a momentum type race. You mess up one corner, you could drop a couple of positions in the span of a very short period here. Let's take a look. This is going to be Rusty Capel in this number 9 car, just loose there on the bottom, snaps and up into the outside barrier. Don't believe anybody else caught him. Looks like they didn't, so a single car accident there for Rusty Capel. Brings us to the first caution flag of the night.
David Tooker going to take the field down pit road for the first time here tonight in front of that 48 car. And David Tooker a little bit in a hole. He was not in Dover last week, and so he needs every point he can get. So far, he's been able to do exactly just that. They're gaining the pole and now leading the field. It's still early, but that's got to be on the mind of this 19 car, trying to make up lost ground from Dover 1 week ago. They're all in, and they're all heading for some adjustments.
Yeah, this is interesting here. Lap 19 of 150. That gives us an idea up here in the booth, at least, of what tire wear is going to look like in this race. And it seems like tires are going to be extremely valuable. You know, just 20 laps into this run, nobody taking a gamble to stay out, maybe get track position, maybe grab a couple of extra points. The entire field on pit road right now. I'm not seeing anybody else out on out on the racetrack here. Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever seen that this season, seeing the entire field on pit road here. But how about this? Vincent Isabella and Trey Holmes, the 28 and 83 cars, going for 2 tire stops here as they come off of pit road. Actually, possibly not. They're not even showing as registering on pit road. Potentially missed their boxes.
That could be a big mistake, and they'll have, I believe, the opportunity to go back down at least one more lap in order to get service there. Vincent Isabella at least will be awarded, I believe, 1 point leading. But you're right, with Trey Holmes and Vincent Isabella not even registering going on pit road, I believe they had some trouble finding their pit box. And now we'll look to see if pit road is open. Yeah. And indeed, there goes the 42 and the 29. That will give David Tooker, that 19 car, back the lead as we get the 1 to go signal, I believe, next time by.
Yeah, so with that then being said, the next kind of big thing on pit road was Matthew Weeks here dropping another 2 spots. He was 3rd heading onto pit road, is now 5th coming off. We'll restart here behind Chad Frankenfield and Chris Wright, both who moved forward there. So, yeah, for Matthew Weeks right there, in the span of 2 to 3 laps, you go from leading this race to now running in 5th. That's how quickly things can change here, especially with all of these guys who are racing up in front of you being, fellow chasers. You really need to start performing here. Obviously early on, and lots of time for Matthew to kind of work on that there and get himself back up to the front, but not a great start there in terms of falling back just before this caution came out and during this caution. So again, minimizing mistakes. We talked about it with Tate Lytle, last week at the Monster Mile. That 56 car was not the fastest car out on the racetrack, I don't think, at any real point, possibly at the end there, but it was just minimizing mistakes while a lot of our leaders had those issues, missed pit road, had some incidents, things like that. So it became Tate Lytle's race to lose after that.
Don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. And that's exactly what we saw most of the competition do last week at Dover, allowing that 56 car, the only guy who is comfortable here at Nashville, heading into the Championship 4 at Homestead in just 2 weeks' time. David Tooker back on the loud pedal, and we are back under the green flag. Nick Massey and Chad Frankenfield left to try and decide who's going to have second, because David Tooker jumped out to a big lead as he's heading into turn number 1.
Yeah, great restart there by David Tooker, but how about Chad Frankenfield here now moving up potentially into second position, still side by side with teammate Nick Massey, but Massey now getting the push from Chris Wright, and there you're going to see the effect of the push there. Both cars able to clear the 15 despite the 48 and 15 being side by side off of turn number 2. Yeah, big drafting race here, especially on these restarts. So watch guys working together. Chris Wright, Nick Massey, very good friends. They both are in the booth here. Typically on Monday nights for the Xfinity Series, they know each other very well. Right now running together as well, but also competing with each other for a spot in that Final 4.
See just outside that top 4, that red and white 25 car, that's Jacob Adams. He's one of the guys that is not inside that championship field, but wants a good run nonetheless, and has always been one of those contenders that has been having a good run among the guys that are inside that championship grid. So that 25 car, really no surprise to see him up there. He's been able to do that. Can he capitalize even more and perhaps get that win, as we see Nick Massey in that 48 car, one of our multi-win winners of the season, trying to go for the lead on the outside of the 19.
Nick Massey's there. He's got the support of the 20 car of Chris Wright. If he can hold on the outside here, let's see what Chris Wright decides to do, who he decides to go with, because that, I think, will decide who leads this race here. Nick Massey to the bottom. He'll lead across the stripe, and there you see the support from the 20 car. Let's see now if Chris Wright, working together with that 48 car of Nick Massey, can they clear David Tooker here? I don't even know if Nick Massey needs Chris Wright here. There just seems to be pace on that top lane right now. Still side by side, though, down this back straightaway as Chad Frankenfield now hooks up with Tooker on the bottom.
Yeah, and actually the 25 car gets underneath the 20. Now the momentum suddenly shifts to the inside lane, and Chris Wright has 2 cars underneath him. Nick Massey, look at them, almost 2 by 2. the first 3 rows, as Chad Frankenfield's been actually able to inherit that 3rd position. Now he pushes Nick Massey in that outside lane. David Tooker's still fighting hard underneath in 2nd place.
Yeah, good job by David Tooker. Obviously a great defensive drive right now by this 19 car. He's just holding these guys in line, and we're seeing now guys basically picking lanes. That's what this race is starting to turn into, where they're able to run so strong, and you need to have that support of a guy pushing you behind, as I think Tooker now. He was possibly clear there just for a second, but Massey with the run on the top side and the support from teammate Chad Frankenfield right behind him. He's staying in touch with David Tooker for this lead. He just needs enough of a push to get clear, but there's clearly a lot more cars. There's clearly a lot more cars on the bottom of the racetrack here, helping out David Tooker right now. But just check this out. This is really incredible here. 2 lanes working right now, but guys just not able to make passes.
2 by 2 by 2, and we really don't know. I couldn't tell you there, Shav, who has the advantage there. Is it the inside lane? I thought that's what we saw during that first run, but now that outside lane really coming to play, and they're 2 by 2 at one point, just 4 rows deep, and the leaders are still side by side with Nick Massey not giving up on that top side. He's been able to get the run on the outside and really hold David Tooker down, who's been forced to kind of use the less momentum on the inside to keep from getting into the 48 car, and that's really keeping this side-by-side battle now in its 4th, perhaps 5th lap into this run.
Yeah, this is interesting here. I really don't know. Obviously, again, brand new track for myself, for everybody here, at least as far as I can tell. I don't know what lane is best around here, but the way it was kind of working, it seemed like maybe it is a multi-lane racetrack. But as the run goes on, though, you're burning off those tires if you're running on maybe a less than preferred lane. Whether or not that's the top or the bottom, I don't know. But you can see right here, they've started a single file out front at least. Nick Massey now has to slot in behind David Tooker. There's still a battle going on here for the 3rd position between Adams, Frankenfield, and Wright. But yeah, you can kind of start seeing maybe we're starting to see some single file again here as guys kind of start getting into this tire run.
And you mentioned how tires are going to be a factor here tonight. I think that was on the minds of some of these drivers as they suddenly worked to the bottom of the racetrack, started to get single file, because as good as that action was, them being side by side, you were right, it was taking out the life of those tires, and you're going to need that should we get a long green flag run. You don't want to hurt yourself early in this run. The person that's been able to take advantage since that restart, though, is that 25 car of Jacob Adams. He's been been able to work his way up to 3rd in front of the 15 and the 20, who were 2nd and 3rd just a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, you can see here, aggressive on entry is this 15 car, and maybe even got a little bit loose there coming off of turn number 4. That's going to give this run up, I think, a little bit to the 20, but he does get side drafted by Gerald Campbell there in the 31. So, this is going to be interesting here. Guys are going aggressive early because you kind of have to. You want to find that track position, and I'm intrigued. This 15 car is running a very different line, I think, right now to everybody else. He's very aggressive into the corner, almost diamonds a little bit in the center, and then tries to be aggressive off, maybe loses some. But see how much ground he's closing in on Nick Massey there mid-corner, but then just has to scrub off some of that speed towards the exit. But actually a great exit that time by. This might actually be a run here for the 15 car if he can find some space. He doesn't, though, with the 25 car in play, so he's just going to go and support his teammate. And
check out where that yellow line is right there. There's no out of bounds on this racetrack here, so I believe the run that 15 had, or for the fact that a teammate was right in front, he looked like he could have gotten to the inside where that darker gray on the apron to try and perhaps force it 3 wide. Perhaps that could be play a factor toward the end of this one. But the guy that's making up more moves is that 25 car. He got to the outside of the 48 car, and I believe if he can clear him, that 19 can should look out, because that 25 is on rails, really putting that 48 car in a vulnerable position there on the inside.
Yeah, definitely. Jacob Adams looking good. And here you go. You talked about 3 wide with Chad Frankenfield. Looked for it there, but with the teammate on the outside, you're definitely not going to make a move like that this early in the race. So has to back out of it just a little bit. There you see, once again, Massey, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he had to get out of it right there.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be what we refer to as a sucker hole of this was a super speedway race there. No support there on the middle of the racetrack as Gerald Campbell in the 15 split him. He's going to fall outside of the top 5, now into the clutches of the 20. And who's that right behind him? That's the 64 of Andrew Rucker running along that Christmas paint scheme, that red and green 64 car Ford Mustang behind him. Nick Massey still struggling on that outside lane.
Yeah, no, it's just like I was saying. I mean, this is one of those tracks, this package, the way it works right now is, you make a mistake anywhere on the racetrack, you're going to pay dearly for it. So, I mean, it's funny, right? You talk to guys about wanting, drivers racetracks and things like that. In a sense, and in drivers packages, in a sense here, this really does punish mistakes. This close racing that we get here on these super speedways. It's entertaining for us up here, and it means that you have to be very, very confident and very mistake free during your runs here. Otherwise, you'll lose all that track position, and you're seeing that right here now. With Nick Massey kind of falling back after just that small mistake. He's got some time to recover, of course, and expect to see that 48 back up inside the top 5 fairly shortly, though. Jacob Adams, how about this? He's going after David Tooker for this race lead.
I believe he wants it in the worst way possible there, and he's not just content to be riding along in the second position. You're seeing about a 3-car breakaway before a gaggle of cars, and the 48 car loose just off the center of your screen right there once again. But a 3-car breakaway up front, and then 4th place on back. It is a madhouse. Chris Wright has that spot. Here comes a look and challenge for the inside by the 25 car. He has forced Tooker to that. Oh, trouble! Jeff Green and Jared Rexing hard in the wall in turn 2.
Oh, that's big. Jared Rexing, your championship second place driver right now. That's huge. The damage on that 10 car is big. That is a lot to the front end there of Jared Rexing's car. A lot of cars going off track to avoid that one, but it all starts with Jared Rexing and Jeff Green. Let's go back to the yellow flag, take a look what happened to these two. So here we go, side by side, Jeff Green and Tate Lytle. Jeff Green loses it right in front of the 10 car, nowhere to go. You see the 28 goes off there of Joshua Clark. Nobody else really avoiding that. There you see a couple of guys going off onto the grass there to avoid. But there's Jeff Green, Josh Clark, maybe a little bit of damage. Jared Rexing, I think the biggest loser though from that incident. Mistake from Jeff Green there, and let's see if we can once again grab what happened here.
He just stepped out just a little bit, and almost what we saw with the 9 car earlier as well, almost in the exact same area of the racetrack right there. So on board with the 38 car.
Yeah, you just see it. You just kind of lose it. There was just that sudden snap to the right. Jeff Green, then you're a passenger after that. And for Jared Rexing, he was right in front of that. And there you see all these cars avoiding action. One guy goes off track, not too sure who that was, but yeah, the 2 cars with big damage, Jeff Green, Jared Rexing, and potentially some damage to the 28 there of Joshua Clark as well. Meanwhile, Scott Crump stays out on the racetrack, one of our chasers, to grab a bonus point, while the rest of the field is in on pit road.
So working lap 40 of 150 in the book. Championship leader in trouble, Jared Rexing in that 10 car. He has significant damage to that number 10 Chevrolet, and I don't believe that is going to be capable of any speed, even if he does get that fixed there. So this is a disastrous day for that 10 car. He's probably looking at Charlotte in a must-win scenario, or if not, having a really good day and other competitors around him having a bad one.
Yeah, you hate to see that there for Jared Rexing. He does have a little bit of a points buffer coming into this race. We'll go back to what that points system looked like right there. Tiny points buffer, over that cut line. You look at it, and it's Chad Frankenfield as the driver in 5th, just 7 points back from Jared Rexing. So it's really not much, but
yeah, he's going to fall in the standings there. That is definitely not going to be that buffer. Or whatever it was, that small buffer is not going to be enough. So yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Could put him in a rough situation. Already goes down a lap here as Scott Crump does come down pit road now and overshoots, but under caution he should be okay. Yeah, so already running 26th here for Jared Rexing. If he gets out to the racetrack, is able to potentially pull off a top 20 with just the way this race is playing out, that'd be fantastic for him, but still, that's going to be a tall order there, and it's going to need a lot of guys to go out, a lot more caution laps to be had here.
One thing I did notice there, despite the action right there, was the fact that we really had 10, 12 cars really fighting underneath the blanket. I believe they were separated by about a second and a half, so we really didn't see the field really spring out as much as what we kind of would come to expect. Perhaps middle of the run right there, and that was somewhat surprising. And unfortunately, that kind of compounded the action. An innocent mistake, Jeff Green getting loose, them being side by side. I could see that being an issue there 3 laps after restart. But we were well into the run, and cars are gonna get loose. That's part of driving this next gen car on a racetrack that we're just not familiar with. This is the first time for the Cup Series for the Elite Racing Network, so I don't really fault that 38 car for getting loose. It's just unfortunate that the way that everybody was around him, it took out quite a couple of competitors that we might not normally have seen on another similar racetrack there with his drafting package.
Yeah, it's just tough right now, and obviously again everybody's trying to elevate themselves to another level, and that means you're open to a lot more mistakes to be made, and there's so many different things here with playoff racing, so you just have to, everything has to be tightened up, but you also need to perform at a higher level, and it's tough to do that. And the guys that we see able to pull that off, that's why they're champions, that's why they're elite, and they're able to compete at this high level. And win championships at this high level, but man, it is brutal here in terms of just a mental game, what you have to deal with, and how hard you have to push, and how close you are there to making race-ending mistakes, like we just saw there with Jeff Green, we saw there with Rusty Capel earlier in the race. That same corner, same issue.
So just cleaning up our second caution of the night, David Tooker, once again your leader for this restart. Pace car is in, and he's once again on the loud pedal. Jacob Adams in that 25, fighting for second with Chad Frankenfield, as once again the 19 gets a well of a lead as they enter turn number 1.
Yeah, so once again, good restart there for David Tooker. Look at this, guys all boxed together here just behind him. Looked like it almost got a little bit tight for Andrew Rucker there underneath all of these guys, and I think he's going to fall back a couple of positions here, but should be able to kind of recover a little bit, at least early in this run. Meanwhile, it's Adams versus Frankenfield up front. Adams clearly the guy up ahead right now, and Chris Wright with the run as well on the outside. He could potentially pass this 15 car before they get through turns 1 and 2. Side by side there, Chad Frankenfield to the door, but expect the run to probably fall here with the 20 car. And it does. He is clear of the 15. 3 wide into
3 wide. We know the 15 had been thinking about that. That 64 car was about that life. He took it to the inside of the 15 of Chad Frankenfield, kind of showing up his move and what could be done. It didn't work out for him, though, as the 15 goes high. There's Gerald Campbell trying to block that advance. Still side by side as they enter turn 1. There's Massey and Tyler Fody. We saw a big blimp out of the 15 right there. He's back.
And another one.
And then he's actually out of it again. That'll be something we'll be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on those blinking issues. We don't typically see that from the 15 car Chad Frankenfield, so we'll see kind of how that fares. But I was just gonna say, there's a good thing there's no manufacturer alliances here in iRacing, because let me tell you, if you saw that move as a Ford executive and watched the 64 take the 31 and 15 3 wide heading into turn number 3, you definitely would have been a little bit scared right there. But yeah, these guys all made it through. Maybe a touch there for Matthew Weeks.
You saw the 64 car barely slide in front of the 15, who actually pulled out a line to get the run underneath him right there. This is a battle that has not quit for the past 2, make it 3 laps, and I believe the 11 car, he might have nipped the wall as he would sit there just a little bit behind him.
Yeah,
a guy that's actually fallen off pace as well, though, just behind that is Nick Massey. He's all the way back in the 9th position there.
Yeah, Massey's fallen back. He's got some work to do right now. What I'm curious about, though, is the Rucker and Chad Frankenfield situation is they're teammates. And Chad Frankenfield is fighting for a championship. Andrew Rucker is not. That was a curious move there from Andrew Rucker. They're probably in communication with one another. That probably could have been done in such a way that it didn't disadvantage Chad in such a way, but yeah, Chad's going to have to recover there as Andrew Rucker moves forward. A lot of speed in that 64 car, a lot of speed in this 25 car as well, as he's running that outside lane on David Tooker. Now Chris Wright gets in there and blocks David Tooker to the inside, so potentially we've got enough of a push here for the 25 to clear the 19. I don't think he needs it, though. He might just have the straight-up pace to do so.
Oh, you saw the 19 try to get to the quarter panel. The 25 was unable to do so, and new leader in Nashville, make it the 25 of Jacob Adams, still in search of that first career win in the Elite Racing League. He just took the lead in a big way away from the 19 car, who's now struggling to hang on to the top 3. He's actually lost 2 spots, looking to lose another one there to Andrew Rucker in that 64. What on earth happened to the 19 car?
Yeah, no, this is huge right now. David Tooker, and I mean, it's partially, I think, the momentum and all of that, but he's getting side drafted at all these wrong times here, and that's really hurting. And there you go. The pole sitter, the guy who's led the most laps so far tonight, dropping down all the way to 4th, likely going to be 5th by the end of this lap, possibly even 6th here. Look at the run that the 11's got. He, though, decides to back out, stay with his teammate. But, yeah, I mean, just how quickly things can change here, as now it's, Adams and Wright up front. Gerald Campbell, who we haven't talked about a ton tonight, he's been having a fantastic run. Didn't end up making the chase this season. You're defending champion. So it just hasn't been the season that he's been hoping for in this next-gen car, but he's shown pace and flashes and glimpses of excellence here this season, and he's showing that again right now with this run currently going on here at Nashville Superspeedway. This 31 car is looking like the championship contender he was last year.
He's right on the back bumper of the 20 of Chris Wright, who's been able to keep in tow right behind that 25. As there's contact between Rucker and David Tooker there as they got across the start-finish line. Looks like the 19's going to aid in favor of that battle right there, but the yellow flag is out for the 3rd time today behind them.
Oh, it's Chad Frankenfield.
Oh, no! Another championship contender in trouble.
Let's take a look. This could be a very similar situation. No, it's just Chad Frankenfield, Tyler Fody coming together. Chad got really lucky there, didn't hit the wall, just stopped on the track. Wow.
And that is, he got put in that position there by Tyler Fody there. We'll have to take a look at another replay just to see, but he did all but knock the fence down, and that could perhaps save his title chances in going to Homestead because of this move. Ooh, I don't know there. I mean, from the inside, that's tough. We'll have to take a look at it from the outside the car.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Roll back this replay. Yeah, let's see if we can grab this outside camera again, see if we can find maybe a better angle at it. I don't know. Let's see, here we go. Tyler Fody, Chad Frankenfield. Fody had some room on the bottom.
He did have a little bit of room on the bottom, and I think the 15 expected him to be using that.
Yeah, so. That's got to be a racing deal. I haven't heard anything from race control just yet. I think Fody was never going to be on that trajectory to wrap the bottom. I think Chad Frankenfield expected him to. I'd call that a racing deal. And obviously Chad extremely lucky, I think. Yeah, Chad very lucky to have probably minimal damage on that 15 card, not backing it into the wall there. So that's huge for his title chances, because that right there could be the difference between this 15 card making the Final Four or not.
You know, now our 3rd caution of the night has split strategy here. We see a number of competitors inside the top 10 not pit, but a number of people outside of it decide to do so. We'll see exactly how much tires truly mean, as we had gotten about 5 or 6 laps of green flag racing before that issue had happened.
Yeah, really interesting here. If we take a look at stint lengths, 14 laps complete. I mean, you go to that first run, 19 laps were completed there. This isn't a massive difference. We've actually almost had perfectly split up stints here, 19, 20, and 14. But yeah, that's an interesting call by a lot of these guys right now, valuing track position over having those fresh tires. I don't know the number of tires that have been allocated. Potentially it's a call to save an extra set for the end of the race if they see they'll need it. But curious call here, 14 laps into this run. Surprising that people aren't coming down. Andrew Rucker decides to make a late call to come down pit road. So he'll stop in that 64 car, but yeah, very interesting. And yeah.
Looks like I think we'll be getting the 1 to go signal, and we'll have a new leader to control the restart here, and that'll be the 25 of Jacob Adams, who has elected to start on the inside, I believe. Yes. Chris Wright. Right behind him, actually. We might still have 1 to go before we get there. So.
Yep.
So under caution here for the third time today. We'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. The action has definitely been fast and furious here in the virtual Music City. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
As the lights go out on the pace car here and the field gets ready to grid up for the next restart, want to make some shout-outs here to our premier partners at the Elite Racing Leagues. And first and foremost, there's Response Energy. Get the response you've been looking for in an energy drink, available typically at Target, especially in the southern regions of the United States. Also want to thank C2 Freight Resources. Their electronic data interchange service allows shippers to keep close electronic tabs on their shipments throughout the freight movement process. For more information there, check C2 Freight. And, of course, Blue Egg Marketing, proud sponsor there of that 40 car of Tyler Fody, involved in the incident that caused this caution. But Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses. Whatever your business constraints are, Blue Egg Marketing, they'll help your company punch above their weight class. And they'll be your marketing department and biggest fan. So thanks so much to all of our premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing Leagues. Lights are out on the pace car. We're ready to go back to green flag racing.
Jacob Adams in that 25 car, going to be the control car on this restart as the pace car ducks back onto pit road. He can control whenever he decides to go. They are going to respond behind him, and there it is. See the 31 and the 20 actually make it single file, the top three, before they are still double wide behind him. David Tooker on that outside line looking to regain some of that lost track position he had. Most of these guys still on those older tires. I believe the first guy on newer tires behind them, I think would be in the 15th or so. I think that was Alexander Van de Sant. Scott Crump, fired back mid-teens. We'll see if those guys with fresher tires can make their way up through the field, including the 15 car of Chad Frankenfield. Look at this hornet's nest behind them, though. Lots of action going on here. Don't know if that's necessarily where you want to be on this stage of the race.
Yeah, some pretty crazy stuff going on here a little bit further back. I mean, you talk about a hornet's nest up there. Look at this going on. And there's Chad Frankenfield right in the midst of it. He's got teammate Andrew Rucker right there with him in the 64 car. But just, yeah, this is chaos right now. And for the 15, this is your worst nightmare, because you have to be aggressive enough to move forward. As you can see him middle 3 wide. His teammate almost makes it 4 wide there, but decides to back out last second. 29 car there of, who is that? Is that Trevor Elam in there this weekend? Decides to back out of it. It's Josh Clark actually in that 29 car. Who's in the 28 then? Vincent Isabella. They're moving all over the place, I guess.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have sworn that's an interesting way to do it here. But yeah, dangerous there a little bit for Chad Frankenfield, but he has to make these moves, get himself back up, and capitalize on the issues that Jared Rexing had earlier in this race, because that's a position that he can move up there in terms of the chase fight. Look at this up front. It's really picking up in terms of the battle here. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. They are going for it here, all the way back to Nick Massey in 8th position. Right now, Jacob Adams still leads, but Chris Wright gave him a run for his money there in turns 1 and 2. And Matthew Weeks is back in this fight as well.
Maybe I was wrong there, Rashad. Maybe you want to be in the back of the pack, because up here looks downright nasty right behind the 25 car there. 2 by 2 by 2, 4 rows deep, and not a lot of room for error in most of the top 10. You're seeing Matthew Weeks and Tate Lytle, Pro Edge Racing, working that outside lane. David Tooker, our pole setter there, is there as well. And on the inside, there's Chris Wright and Tyler Fody. Gerald Campbell now in a 3-wide situation. Will it work out of turn 4?
Oh, look at that. I mean, there you see. These guys just are really going at it. Tooker, Fody, Gerald Campbell, all those guys going at it. Tooker gets kind of the benefit there and comes out on top of that 3-wide situation. They're back to 2 by 2 here. Check this out here, though. Tate Lytle is back up into this conversation. He qualified a little bit further back to start the race here. Not exactly sure what his grid position was, but now up into the top 3. And I mean, how crazy would it be if Tate Lytle is in the win contention here for this event, stealing that ticket from somebody who could take it to that Final Four?
It definitely has being the best on his mind there, no matter where he goes. And that's right, if you can make sure that next week at Charlotte is a free-for-all and not have to worry about it, as we see at Massey Weeks. Take a look on the inside of Jacob Adams right there. Why not? As now Pro Edge Racing occupies 3 of the top 4 positions, and Massey Weeks wants to leave there. He might get it on the exit of turn 4 as he has a look on the front stretch.
He's looking. Wow, I thought he was going to turn that 25 car there, because he was there as Jacob Adams went down the racetrack. Now he's definitely there. Adams has to move up to the top, and here we go. We've got a battle for this lead.
Oh my goodness. Where do you keep focus here, Rashav? I want to see the lead. I want to see the battle for 4th place. I want to see the battle for 9th place. It's all underneath a blanket right there with change for the lead in hand. Massey Weeks is able to get around Jacob Adams, but they are mixing it up further behind Tyler Fody and Chris Wright, discussing 5th place.
Yeah, a lot of movement going on through this field here as Tate Lytle also now dispatches of Jacob Adams. Adams tries to get back at him, but he doesn't. Oh, we have a car!
Tucker!
That's David Tucker!
Hard in the outside wall in turn 2. He rides the fence and everybody scatters.
And no caution.
The setter with a big hit.
No caution either. That's really, really big for David Tucker. He gets that hit into the wall, and then there's nothing called there. Let's take a look here at the replay. What happened to David Tucker in that 19 car?
The pole sitter and the guy who had already entered here in the hole after missing last week's race at Dover finds himself in that problem area we've seen on turn 2 all day long, and he's in the fence hard with no yellow flag. He's gone all the way to the back of this field.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to see here what that looked like from the cockpit of Chris Wright, since he was right there behind David Tucker. Let's see if we see anything from this 20 car here.
It's unfortunate. He had done very well, but he just got loose. Just correct. The same what we saw with Rustin Capel to bring out our first caution, and what we saw with Jeff Green that had Jared Rexting into the outside wall as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's man. That's that was just a loose car there. I think Chris Wright. I mean, he did absolutely nothing wrong in that situation. I don't even know if there was contact between the 20 and the 19. So yeah, nothing really going on there. Oh, but he gets close. Chris Wright around!
And Andrew Rucker goes with him there. Slight contact to the back end of the 20. I believe he's going to come away fairly unscathed after a bump from the 64, but that began when the 20 got loose right in front of Rucker.
Well, he got tight into Chad Frankenfield, and then, that hit moved him back into Andrew Rucker, so it was just a bunch of bad stuff there for Chris Wright. Just nothing really went right in that corner.
Chad Frankenfield there, aggressive, making up time on those newer tires, needing to do all he could. But you're right, the 20, he pushes tight.
Yeah.
And then I don't believe there's a lot of damage to the back end. I don't know how sensitive the rear diffuser is on these virtual race cars there. That's where that would have been made contact with Andrew Rucker, who did get some damage on the side of his car as well. But I believe those cars, they should be able to fix that there underneath this yellow flag or fourth one of the night. And there's also caution flag, a big break for David Tucker, who now will be able to fix that damage, although I don't believe that car will drive as well as what we saw. Definitely a pole sitting for him from earlier.
Yeah, definitely not. It is definitely a break there. David Tucker, the last car on the lead lap when the caution flag came out. So, and I believe he's actually going to stay out on the racetrack here, try and grab a bonus point, because I think he might just need it right now. But to be fair, a couple of guys staying out here prevents him from doing so. David Tucker, I think, honestly, at this point, probably needs to think about this race as well as next race as must-win races. So he's going to have to try something strategy-wise to push himself forward here today, and I think is definitely going to have to look at next week being a must-win situation.
Yeah, I didn't see the benefit of not perhaps pitting right there unless he was worried about going the lap down, considering he still had damage to fix. But I would have pitted actually right there and done all that I could to fix all that I could before the pace car got back there. Because they're already going to be restarting in the back anyway. So interesting call to not go down pit road. He was still on the lead lap. Am I correct? Yeah, he's still running along in the 4th position there, so we'll see what happens as you see the 42 car, I believe, past the pace car. Perhaps he's getting his lap back during the free pass. Nope, he'll go down as well. Or not. I have no idea. He'll lead a lap at least there. Actually, I believe he is the free pass, because right now we're being shown the 28 is the leader, and I believe he just went on to pit road.
Could potentially be there. Let's take a look there. The 28 car of Vincent Isabella is your leader. Johnny Thomas. So these, and Michael Hossack, these are all guys who pitted on that last caution. Remember, we kind of had that split of guys picking track position versus tires. Now the guys who pick tires, they're getting that track position here. But not as nice as the track position as the guys who got it last time kind of were able to get here, because fresh tires and your former leader there, Matthew Weeks, sitting just in 4th position. Tate Lytle there as well. Jacob Adams right there behind. So I think this could pretty quickly here turn back over to the leaders we had just before the caution waved.
Yes. And my mistake, it was showing car number 28 there, but Vincent Isabella, I'm assuming, is in the 42. So that is who is our leader there, not in the 28 car. Woo! It has been a eventful first half. We're about 5 laps away from halfway.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I believe we might actually have a scoring issue right here, because I keep on seeing the 42 actually pull up in front of the pace car, which is just not typical underneath the yellow flag. Oh, but actually he goes to the outside there, so he's just playing mind games with me, at least. I don't know, typically see people pass the pace car, so David Tucker is barely going to beat the pace car. That's a scene out of cars, and barely get in front to keep it on the lead lap there.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. The 42, by the way, guys, in timing and scoring shows up as the 28 on your screen. It's the 42. That's just that's how it is a little bit with these guys sometimes, and their paint schemes.
And he's actually going to elect to start. He is the control car, so that puts Johnny Thomas on the inside there, and we'll have our first restart from the control car on the outside this race. Don't know if there's a bonus point to lead halfway. There typically is, so we'll keep that in mind, as Massey Weeks is the first car on newer tires, and he will be restarting in the 4th position, but right behind our control car of Vincent Isabella. Pace car is in. The Byrd 200 is back underway here under the green flag, and a big jump by the 42. Johnny Thomas going to slide in right behind him. There goes Matthew Weeks in that 11 all the way to the bottom of the racetrack there. We'll see just how well those new tires will prevail over those older tires there, as he makes short work of Johnny Thomas, our Daytona 500 champion there, in the 3rd position there, with Jacob Adams trying to follow suit. Oh, trouble! Scott Crump and Tate Lytle get into it in turn 3. They move up the racetrack. I believe they stay out of harm's way, but a big hit for the 56 car, who is our championship contender, and Scott Crump, another one of those drivers in desperate need of a good run. Damage on the right side of that car. You'll take a look at the replay right here and watch this hit coming into play. The 90, it's Chad Fragenfeld on a 3-wide situation right there. Oh, no, I think the 56 got into the side of the 90. I'm not so sure that he knew that they were 3-wide. And that is a big hit for Tate Lytle.
Yeah, it's a big hit for Tate Lytle. Obviously fortunate he's already into the Final Four and was listening just to the radio calls right there. Yeah, it was not made clear to Tate Lytle that it was 3 wide. He was very upset, not with Scott Crump, but the guy on the very bottom, Chad Frankenfield, who made that 3 wide in the field. So yeah, that's the update from that incident. Currently no action taken as it didn't bring out a caution. So the racing continues here. A little bit of chaos going on back here. Chad Frankenfield, meanwhile, up back into the 3rd position here with all of the shuffling that's been going on with cautions and such. Now sits as the 2nd car on the fresh tires here.
Had brought out our 4th caution flag there moments ago, has already rebounded there nicely. Massey Weeks in that 11 car, I want to mention, he did lead that halfway lap, so I believe a bonus point will be put in his favor there, as we are now closing in on the end of this race, already 50% done here in Nashville. Chad Frankenfield making light work of Vincent Isabella in that 42 car and bringing along the 25 as they negotiate 3rd place just behind the 11. Fody, who was also involved in an earlier issue with Chad Frankenfield there, they have both been able to rebound from that earlier spin. Looks like it's the side-by-side battle just outside the top 6 that are single file, as Massey Weeks has a mirror full of that Ford Mustang. Chad Frankenfield, who wants to win in the worst way, and a win today could propel him to that championship 4 grid.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield's been aggressive here so far tonight, and it's been working. There's a lot of speed in that 15 car. We've been seeing a lot of speed from that 15 car all throughout this chase, and that's kind of the first time we've really seen someone use that apron in an attacking manner. And there you go, Chad Frankenfield to the inside of Matthew Weeks. We've seen this all race long, aggressive on the entry to these corners, and has been able to hold it on the exit, but no, not this time. Matthew Weeks coming back at him, not giving up that lead too easily, and they might go 3 wide here. They do go 3 wide into turn number 3. That could be very dangerous.
Jacob Adams to the inside. They do touch out of turn 4. That forces the 11 up the racetrack, and Jacob Adams trying to get underneath. They have put in the middle of the 11 car, and there's Chad Frankenfield once again. The 11 wisely backing out of that. An aggressive move. Behind them, though, they stack up.
Yeah, I could have sworn the 40 almost got turned there by the 31. But yeah, oh man, they make it through. They do all right there. And everybody's still pointing in the right direction here, as it's now Adams versus Frankenfield going at it for the win, or the lead at least right now.
So side-by-side battle as Chad Frankenfield continuing to try and lead for the first time here tonight. But Jacob Adams in that 25 car has done everything right here today, trying to put his name into victory lane for the first time in Elite Racing history. Side-by-side as Massey Weeks in the 11 car has the inside, and a bump from the Tyler Fody car.
Oh.
He's actually going to lose a lot of time in a number of positions because of it.
Yeah, how about David Westergreen, though, right now? This 12 car, we haven't talked about him much this season, but he's putting on a fantastic run right now, up into the 5th position here, fighting it out with a lot of these chasers on the same tire strategy. He's not here because he stayed out or changed things up on strategy. He is here on pure pace, and this is an impressive run right now from this 12 car. David Westergreen certainly putting on a show right now. Let's see how he can move forward. He seems to be enjoying himself with this package here at Nashville Superspeedway.
Yeah, that is just a great run for that 12 car there. Indeed, looking for some sponsorship. I saw on Twitter there saying that he didn't give himself a lot of credit, saying that his car, he crashes a lot, but you will get some TV time. But I know another way to get some TV time, and that's by doing what he's doing right now, running inside the top 5. And he may have sold himself a little bit short there. I believe our friend, colleague there in that 12 car is doing a great job, as you mentioned there, Rasov, having a great run so far there. There goes the 48 car of Nick Massey. He's been able to rebound slightly from earlier mistakes there that have put him just deep in this field, as he goes to the outside of Westergreen there down the back stretch. Massey Weeks also trying to gather it up. And just behind him, you're seeing that bright yellow 41 car. That's Dallas Myhan entering the top 10 for the first time here tonight. He's done a great job working lap 85 of 150, 65 laps to go.
Yes, the battle for the lead right now is kind of died down just a little bit here. Jacob Adams, right now the clear leader in front of Chad Frankenfield, Tyler Fody. Those two back together on the racetrack, so that'll be interesting to watch, see how they continue to race with each other. Gerald Campbell once again back up front, so we're seeing a lot of these protagonists. How about this? 3 wide off of turn number 4. It's quickly, though, dispersed.
Oh, Tyler Fody, though, doing a great job to get to second. Oh, Gerald Campbell, did he nip the wall? Before he entered turn 1, he did everything but touch it if he did. Here's Chad Frankenfield on the outside of Tyler Fody, though. We have seen this story play out. Gerald Campbell, though, a mix of veterans and rookies all together here inside the top 5. Nick Massey, a rookie here, multiple win winner, right behind our reigning champion, the 31 of Gerald Campbell there. Behind Chad Frankenfield, looking for his first win. Behind the 25, who's looking for his first win ever. A lot of storylines here inside the top 5.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. You know, 25, what a great story that would be if he's able to grab this win. But if you're a chaser, he's one of the, you know, I mean, I suppose, I guess if you're not in victory lane as a chaser, you'd rather have this guy win, and that leaves more spots open for points. But look at this, Chad Frankenfield once again all the way down to the grass, just trying to get to the inside of that 25 car. He does get to the quarter panel. We'll see if he's able to stay there. Let's see if there was anything. Heard something on the radio there. Looks like everything was okay, but how about this? Gerald Campbell with the runoff of turn 2. He's now going to attack this 15.
And that's good. Battle Bruce in second place. It's brought along a number of competitors right behind him. Top 10 cars separated by less than 2 seconds as Gerald Campbell has moved himself up to the second position. Let me tell you something here, folks. None of the top 3 have been to victory lane at all this season. That 48 car right behind him has done so 3 times. Intense, frantic racing here going on, and as we get deeper into this run, could we perhaps see our first attempt at our green flag pit stop there? I do believe you're still outside the fuel window for these guys.
Yeah, still some
a factor.
Yeah, some ways to go here in terms of getting to that green flag pit stop. Only 20 laps complete on these tires here, so definitely still some ways to go here, but they're definitely not going to make it, I think, to the end of this race on this current set of tires and fuel. So there will have to be at least one more stop, whether or not that's under green flag conditions or the yellow. We'll see, but oh man, racing like that could potentially mean it's under yellow flag conditions. Chad Frankenfield's going to drop a ton of positions there, coming side by side off the corner with Gerald Campbell. Chad Frankenfield just gets loose there underneath.
And take some of the life out of his tires as well, as he tries to rebound and get behind Nick Massey there. Aggressive racing there from the 15. That's been the name of the game for his race so far all night long. Now we're seeing a little bit of a breakaway by the 25 car. That's the biggest lead we've seen out of him all night so far in front of the 31 car. With how the draft is played out.
Yeah, Nick Massey back into this as well, so we're seeing guys kind of shifting back and forth here in terms of their positions in this race. Yeah, how about this 48 car looking strong again. He kind of fell down a little bit in the middle half of the race, but here on lap 90, as the laps start to wind down here, we head into this final third of the race. This 48 car once again looking strong. Nick Massey, one of the very few multiple race winners here this season. Could he be looking for a 3rd win to add to his collection and catapult him into that final 4 of the race?
Yeah, I misspoke there earlier. I thought he had a 3rd win. He was indeed en route for that win, I believe, last week before a late caution flag there. Took out that 48 car. But we do know he has at least 2 wins. He is a multiple win winner, looking for one that could propel him inside the championship 4. So a win tonight would be big for any of these guys trying to join Tate Lytle as a championship 4 contender for Homestead. That's in 2 weeks' time, with Charlotte 1 race to go. Right on the back bumper, he pulls right up there. Still the front 6 car, single file. Now as Chad Frankenfield gets underneath Tyler Fody, they'll reverse what we've seen so far from these guys, and he'll be on the inside of that 40 car. As they are side by side, still Gerald Campbell trying to run down the 25 car. He's done so. That gap has shrunk down to about 2 car lengths lead. As you see the 15 take his half out of the middle there, almost get into the 40 car. And here comes the 12 of David Westergreen and Dallas Myhan right behind him.
I was going to say the 40 and the 15 have enough of a history racing each other and having some incidents both in the Cup Series as well as all the other series they've raced in together here. Right now, 40 car ahead of the 15. Chad Frankenfield going to see if he can try and find a way. He's been aggressive. He's been making moves here, and they've been working. But, you know, as guys kind of tighten down their defense as the race kind of keeps going along here, might not work out as well here for Chad Frankenfield. We'll see, though. Tyler Fody finding some pace right now, and he's looking to pass here Matthew Weeks. Fody, of course, one of those drivers not in the championship hunt right now.
Nick Massey has worked his way up to second place. Gets in front of Gerald Campbell there, and Matthew Weeks trying to tag along as well. But that Ford Mustang looking exceptionally fast there. A lot of pace in that 48 car that had dwindled away. As we come up on some lap traffic, you see the wounded car of Jared Rexing. You're just now joining us late in this broadcast. You wouldn't be alone. We ourselves had issues joining in, but there was a big crash involving Jeff Green and the 10-car Jared Rexing, who has now been put in perhaps a must-win situation as he gets into the wall right in front of the 25 car. I'm telling you, there has not been a more series that I have covered than lap traffic play a factor than this series. I hold my breath, and no matter what car, it's going a lap down. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It's
and that no flight I believe the 10 car. He should have given a little bit more room to those guys there, as we see the 48 car actually try to take advantage of that. I believe that did take the 25 by surprise, just by how late he caught that 10 car, where he had ample time to kind of move up and kind of get out of harm's way. Lap 99, it'll be 100 working once we go across the start-finish line, and still anybody's race. I haven't seen much side-by-side action for these guys. Things have settled down a little bit, but that does not mean these guys aren't still racing. They are still, I mean, the front 10 cars barely separated by a piece of paper, nose to tail, throughout the field.
I was going to say, once this lap is complete, this will officially be the longest run here that we've had tonight, and so this is the furthest we've gone on tires for a lot of these drivers, especially green flag laps-wise, I think. So, you know, kind of entering a little bit of new territory here in terms of how this car is going to race, how it's going to drive. We're seeing guys right now single-filed out in the top group of drivers, not really changing too much in terms of their lines. A couple of guys trying 1 or 2 lanes off the bottom, but really it's kind of single file here. Tyler Fody, though, maybe hoping to change that, but he does duck back in line.
And, you know, as we had mentioned, we're not going to be able to make it toward the end on this set of tires and fuel. Now the question remains, when do you decide to get them? Do you short pit, what we saw at Dover perhaps last week there? When do you decide to put those new tires on, and will it be enough of an advantage in front of these guys that you decide to pit early or versus late? I mean, there's just so many unknowns on the last 50 laps of this race here that will have to be discussed, and perhaps could win you the race or lose you it.
So let's take a look here now. Again, everybody kind of single-filed up front. Nick Massey putting a little bit of pressure on Jacob Adams there by the end of the straight, but right now I think just pretty happy to stay in line. Meanwhile, you got Michael Goodman here, Andrew Rucker all racing, as well as Dallas Myhan. So as Michael Goodman clears these two, Myhan looking to the inside of Rucker. Is this the 64 car here falling, or is he fighting back? I'm trying to see what's been going on there with him.
Involved in our last caution, so he might be trying to fight back there. He was, and Chris Wright, who has not been able to crack the top 10. In fact, Wright still sitting in the 11th position, just behind this battle here.
Yeah, there's Chris Wright there. Alexander Van Sant. We haven't talked about Van de Sant all day long. That's another one of your championship contenders here. This this round has just been going from bad to worse here for Alexander Van de Sant, really. I mean, running in 12th position right now, that's not gonna get you there into that final 4 position. Didn't have a great race at the Monster Mile either. Got involved in an incident or 2 there, and today it looks like he's been fairly clean. There's definitely some damage there to the right side of that 97, but just hasn't had the pace right now to compete with a lot of these guys. So he's had an incredible season, obviously grabbing that win, at Coda, and of course fighting for it early on in the chase and still advancing to this round. Right now, it looks like Van de Sant setting himself up to be in a must-win situation heading into next week.
New leader up front, Nick Massey's been able to get around the 25 car of Gerald Campbell, but not by much. He is still within a car length lead as we see the 25 of Jacob Adams get loose. Gerald Campbell, defensive line, trying to get underneath the 25 to take advantage of that or just get away. That 25 car all but knocked the fence down in turn 2. The trouble spot that we've seen all day long. As you had mentioned there, Rasov, this is the longest run we've had all night long on this set of tires. Is it coming out to play right now?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to. And I mean, for some of these guys, I think they're pretty happy making moves right now. How about this? Matthew Weeks, Jacob Adams side by side. Chad Frankenfield, Tyler Fode side by side. This could get very spicy very quickly here. But the run seems to be kind of rolling on that outside lane just a little bit. You're maybe rolling just a little bit more speed through the corners, a little bit less steering lock on on those fronts especially. It kind of keeps you in this. Look at that, Matthew Weeks. That side draft is so powerful down here. He just kind of got quickly sucked up, and he's going to drop to Tyler Fode, to Chad Frankenfield. Even David Westergreen here, I think, is going to get to the outside of Matthew Weeks off the corner. He might have the run. Matthew Weeks is going to try to get back to these guys, though, as Westergreen now is going to push Chad Frankenfield along the back straightaway, stays up top.
And you can see what it is, just a sudden loss. It's just 5-6 miles an hour. Not much there. As
How about that?
He's going to try and go around. He locks it. Gets onto pit road there, barely. He'll lose time entering, but not the race car. A late decision made by the 11 of Massey Weeks to get onto pit road to minimize the bleeding of that. Making that mistake there has actually cost him dearly on this, what could be the final pit stop of the race.
That's concerning for me if I'm the 11 car. Obviously, I kind of see this call here where he might have been burning through those tires a little bit and just wanted to grab that new set a little bit earlier, gave himself a pace advantage. However, the tire drop-off here isn't that significant. I mean, we're 40 laps into this run. Nick Massey is just over a second off of his best time. So there really isn't a huge increase in or huge change in pace there by going onto these fresh tires for Matthew Weeks. And he just ran 40 laps on that last set. He has to run 40 laps here to finish this race. I think it might have just been a little bit too early. He's definitely in a danger zone right now if a caution comes out.
Yeah, that coupled by the fact that he did not get on the pit road at all.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully he was not nabbed for speeding right there, but that late decision there did cost him dearly as we see Matthew Weeks fall a lap down and in the danger zone. So we see the yellow flag come out. Also in Andrew Rucker in that 64 car.
Yeah, Rucker just hits pit road now. There you see 64 car. Sitting there, he's the next one to potentially make that final stop of the race. Van de Sant making that same call too, and the 97 locks things up. We'll see if he gets a speeding penalty. Might have just gotten in time. But yeah, guys, this feels a little bit early here in the run to be making that call to grab tires here, but I think Matthew Weeks kind of opened the floodgates, and some guys have to respond to it. And I guess for Weeks, if you're dropping those positions for Van de Sant, you didn't quite have the pace here so far tonight. It's worth it to take a little bit of a gamble, I suppose, to find that track position, especially if they can get back onto the lead lap before a caution comes out.
What I do like about that decision, though, is that they decided to split that stage in half. So you mentioned they had gone 40 laps, and we have 40 laps to go. So to them, they're just splitting that, getting the most out of their tires on each cycle. But you're right, that could be early, especially if we still have some in the tank as we go around the wounded car of Rusty Capel in that 9. Here comes the 25 of Jacob Adams trying to use that 9 car as a pick. It's not going to work. It's actually going to cost him a spot. Tyler Fode in the 40 car rounds the outside around him. Gerald Campbell as well has migrated back to the 4th place position there. And there's Chad Frankenfield and David Westergreen, all these 6 cars underneath the blanket nose to tail, still have yet to make a pit stop here. 35 laps to go. And let's talk about getting onto pit road here as well, because we've seen some brake lockup. We've seen some late race decisions here. I don't know how these guys fared in practice here, but this will be the first and perhaps only time we've seen these guys make a green flag pit stop here tonight. So that is also going to play a factor. We saw how critical it was last week getting onto pit road. It cost Jared Rexing a shot at getting to victory lane. It cost Chad Frankenfield a shot at getting to victory lane. So if I'm any of these top 6 cars, the one thing that's on my mind is making sure I have a clean entry onto pit road.
Yeah, I don't know. I find that really interesting. And I mean, obviously, for a lot of these guys, you're running this race on your own in terms of setting up your strategy and all that. But when I worked as a crew chief, both in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series here in the Elite Racing Leagues, that was one of the things we emphasized so heavily was at the end of a long run, don't just stop the car and oh my God, there's a crash. There you go, 25, 40, 15 car.
Chad Frankenfield, heavy damage. The 25 of Jacob Adams. And what we saw, the 40 car of Tyler Fody, second through third, all involved in this crash. Gerald Campbell got a piece of the action as well. So about half our lead pack there in trouble, and Chad Frankenfield, a championship contender, perhaps with the worst of it.
There you see, I think that's just tight. That 25 car goes up. He didn't have the room to go up there. Tyler Fody was there. That's and I on the radio, Jacob Adams said, yeah, and penalty goes to the 25 car. Yeah, that's a totally fair penalty there. Yeah, I mean, just didn't quite give the 40 car enough room. That kind of starts that whole thing. So unfortunate there, especially for Jacob Adams. He was having such a good race, but just an honest mistake. And he was immediately on the radio apologizing to these two. But the question now is, what does that car look like for Tyler Fody? What does that car look like for Chad Frankenfield, who's in that championship hunt? It does not look great on the front nose of that. We'll see as he comes around here. See if we can grab. There you go. There's no front nose on that 15 car.
That's going to be a considerable amount of time, and from the damage that we've seen from other cars like Jared Rexing, it's not going to be well. We see Nick Massey in that 48 car gets going. There's Chris Wright and Dallas Myhan as well. I go back to last week with Jared Rexing, with Chad Frankenfield, the issues that we've seen here tonight. Would they be a factor had they been able to execute and perform well just 1 week ago?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be so many what-ifs for sure, especially if drivers like Jared Rexing, Chad Frankenfield don't end up making the Final Four. It's, that's what happens. I mean, you got to minimize mistakes. I think tonight for the 15 car at least, it has been mistakes. It's been maybe just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I mean, even if tonight didn't go to plan, you could still look at last week at Dover. And I mean, there's so many things that you'll look at if you don't make it. If you do make it, of course, you don't worry and you focus forward to Homestead. But yeah, I mean, so many things going through these drivers' minds right now, and you've just kind of got to take it one lap at a time and do your best, finish as best as you can, drive as best as you can, and just hope that's enough to get you there into that Final Four.
Let's take a look at our championship standings there as we see David Tooker go on the pit road there.
Yeah, no exact update to them. Yeah, but we kind of get at least an idea. Exactly.
So Nick who's had trouble.
Exactly. So Nick Massey, your current race leader, so he would theoretically jump up there to join Tate Lytle as locked in. Jared Rexing, the big question mark in terms of where he ends up finishing tonight, currently runs in the 25th position, about 15 laps down. Something like that. So Jared Rexing right now set to lose a lot of points. Chris Wright, currently running in the second position, looks to gain on that cut line. Frankenfield's going to lose some time there to the cut line, lose some positions. Matthew Weeks was having a good race, kind of dropped back a little bit, currently running in the 13th spot. Scott Crump as well has kind of just not been anywhere so far tonight. Let's see if we can find where Crump is located. He's in 10th position. Alexander Vandesen as well has been struggling down in 17th, and David Tooker, we saw, had that incident as well. Tooker sits 14th, 1 lap down. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, just absolute craziness for chase drivers right now. They're really all over the map. If you're, my guess is right here. What this chase picture looks like is Tate Lytle, Nick Massey, Chris Wright, your top 3 coming out of this race. In terms of who's 4th, I don't know. It might actually still be Chad Frankenfield, just looking at the way the points are separated right now, because it's a big gap from your chase drivers 1 and 2, Nick Massey, Chris Wright, to the next chase driver, who's Tate Lytle in 11th. Is that right?
I believe so.
It is.
There. And Matthew Weeks as well. What do you call it? He got burned by that caution flag. We were talking about pitting there, so he's going to restart there, back on the lead lap, but he will not have the freshest tires.
Yeah.
And so that'll be a little bit of a disadvantage there as he tries to forge his way forward with 30 laps to go.
Yeah. So yeah, this is really interesting here. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I think for Nick Massey and Chris Wright, you're obviously the most confident right now. Those two could be, either locked in with a win, one of them, and then the other one very close to being locked in on points, just with the points differential right now. With, again, the next chaser being outside the top 10. It'll probably change a little bit here, but man, that's pretty crazy right now.
Lots of championship contenders singing the blues here in virtual Music City. Nick Massey, though, trying to make his tune. It's a happy one as he gets back onto the loud pedal, stomps on the gas, and he is in command. Less than 30 laps to go. Chris Wright behind him.
Yeah, so Massey gets a good launch. Chris Wright does a good job staying with him. How about Dallas Myhand here in the 3rd position, going to get attacked by Vincent Isabella to the inside, but holds on. Dallas Myhand has had an extremely good under-the-radar season here in 2021B. If he could hang on for a top 3, that'd be huge for that 41 car. Right now, though, he's going to have to fight with Vincent Isabella pretty hard to maintain that position. Johnny Thomas as well coming back there. That's your Daytona 500 winner. Out of the chase in the last round there, but still looking to grab some wins. These packages, these 1.5 miles kind of intermediate tracks and up, he really performs well at these, and you're seeing that again here from this 91 car.
And, that last wreck there that involved a lot of our lead pack has now opened up the door for some of these guys to have really good days. I'm looking through our top 10, and I see Scott Haney in that 3 car. He's running along in the 7th position, just behind him. Michael Goodman, who actually has been flirting inside the top 10 all race long. That 44 car has been unusually stout there today. And then you see that 89 as well having a great run. That is Brent Jones in the 6th position. A lot of guys we don't talk about having good days, indeed doing so here late in this one.
Yeah, so single file right now in terms of the fight for 3rd position, in terms of the fight in general up front. There's your top 5 drivers there all on one screen, but all single filed, not really making moves on one another. You'll see off the corner, maybe some of them will get different runs there and different looks. Vincent Isabella here might have a shot at the win. Filling in, it says he's driving the 42, but realistically filling in, driving that 28 car for Joshua Clark. And I mean, that would be kind of cruel fate, I suppose, for Joshua Clark. That 28 car has been close to victory lane a couple of times this season. If that 28 car hit victory lane, but not with him in the car. Just looking a little bit further back, how about Brent Jones, numbers 89 car in 6th position, just at the fastest lap of the race.
It's amazing for a driver we just don't typically talk about at all. That 89 car doing a great job here.
Yeah, another driver with huge growth this season, and we're seeing this right now. It's kind of funny as the championship contenders have kind of imploded almost amongst themselves. We're seeing a lot of names here moving forward and putting on great runs. Brent Jones here, Michael Goodman's up front. Dallas Myhand we were just talking about. Vincent Isabella has had an up and down season, but he's looking really good right now. Trey Holmes just hanging on to the tail end of the top 10. Michael Hossack in 11th, Scott Haney 12th. I mean, look at this. These guys are having great runs, and I mean, they're right there in contention. You talk about Dallas Myhand, Vincent Isabella. Look at this. They are right there with Nick Massey and Chris Wright fighting for this race win, and Vincent Isabella is going to make the move on Chris Wright.
Yeah, he's taking a look there, trying to make most of that substitute position there, filling in. And it's not unheard of there to see some substitute drivers there. Bonus points if you can, out in the YouTube verse or Twitterverse there, if you know this one, who was the last driver to get a substitute win there, filling in for another driver. named me the driver of the year as we see Vincent Isabella get in front of that 20 car.
Yeah, how about that? Really, really tight slide job there almost by Vincent Isabella to get up there in front of the 20 car. He's now going to tackle and chase down this 48 car. This is Vincent Isabella, your defending Truck Series champion, and Chris Wright's not going to play easy with him. Chris Wright, a chaser, he's going to be right all over the back bumper of that 42 car, trying to push him into a mistake. But again, Vincent Isabella, when he is on, he is really on, and we're seeing this right now. He's just putting together really good laps right now and competing with 2 championship favorites.
Currently, there are only 4 championship contenders inside the top 10. Nick Massey and Chris Wright have the top 5 covered there. Scott Crump and Matthew Weeks running along in the 8th and 9th position. The rest of the field, the majority of the top 10, though, are outsiders looking for a win, and the best of them is that 42 car subbing in for Joshua Clark. He's right on the back bumper of the 48, though, and you keep in mind, I look back to last week, in a position to win once again. That 48 car there was leading at Dover there. Unfortunate yellow flag came out there, and then a pit stop of which I believe officials are still combing their heads over. How was that legal? Tate Lytle getting the win. But take a look at this there, the 42 car. He wants to look on the inside. He does not care that these guys are championship contenders. He wants to lead in the big way there.
Yeah, he wanted the lead there, but that was a risky move, and you saw why that was, because the second Chris Wright decided not to go with Vincent Isabella, he was going to drop at least 1 position if he didn't complete the pass on Nick Massey, and now it could be 2 positions as he runs side-by-side with Dallas Myhan. So really just tricky situation there. I love the push from Vincent Isabella, but I'm not sure he quite had the full-on run to go for it. But that's also just, again, part of this package is Massey with the blink. That could be big in terms of how this race plays out. He is still back on track. Is he? There he is. Wow, the entire front straightaway, Nick Massey was blinking. That could play into into this race as we wind down here, under 20 laps to go.
And we see, I believe the last win was at Atlanta for that 48 car with blinking issues as well.
Yeah.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, don't they? As we get to under 20 to go, Chris Wright there, able to wrestle second place away from the 42. You're looking at a 7-car breakaway at the front of the field, right behind the Michael Goodman tail end of this train, doing all he can to keep inside this lead pack. The 89 as well. Things get physical up front. Any one of these guys really could win it in the back half of this lead pack.
Yeah, this is really impressive right now, and again, I'm going to make it as many times as I can here. Shout out to Brent Jones and Michael Goodman, because not only are they hanging on to this fight for the lead, but they are gapping Matthew Weeks and Scott Crump, who are chase contenders. Look at that. I mean, these guys started close together on that restart. Matthew Weeks obviously has that tire issue, so he's been kind of working. He's been pushing forward, to be fair, and he's been beating out a lot of these guys behind him who are on fresher tires. But there is still a 2.5-second gap to Michael Goodman between that 44 car and Matthew Weeks, who is a championship contender. These guys are putting on a heck of a drive right now. So absolutely hats off to them just being in contention right now. If it's for a win, a top 5, either way, they finish up here where they're running. This will be a huge night for both those Do Good Racing drivers, Do Good Motorsports drivers, excuse me, and same thing again. Can't speak this enough. Johnny Thomas, of course, having a good run. Dallas Myhan, Vincent Isabella, all having a good run. We look up to the front and we see 2 chasers, expect them to be running well. But you look at the rest of the top 7 and you're looking at guys that we don't normally talk about here.
Yeah, just an excellent run there. It's amazing what happens with a bit of good luck and a little bit of bad luck on other drivers' parts there, as we see another considerable blink out of the 48 car. Chris Wright, though, he is just lurking. You have to wonder, is he just trying to save his stuff for a late race charge? I'll bring us back to real life there. I believe it was the 42 of Ross Chastain who was able to try and chase down Kyle Larson. Ran out of time, though. Just needed a couple of laps there. Have to wonder if that is on the mind of the 20 car. Is he trying to get the most he can right now? Or does he want to have something in the tank, as Dallas Myhan is trying to challenge for 3rd place there on the outside?
Yeah, Myhan.
Contact!
No!
And he's in the wall in the fence. Vincent Isabella was suspended. The yellow flag is out. And I believe the 29 car gets a piece of the action as well. A hard hit as he connects with the... I believe that was Dallas Myhan who he got a piece of that had come to rest on the front stretch there. And that is Joshua Clark in that 29 car there. Let's take a look. I think you're going to see the 42. Yes.
Yeah.
Walking up the racetrack there. Dallas Myhan, a good day gone bad. And now take a look at this. 29. Oh, that is insult to injury. Taken out by the car that you're subbing for.
Yeah, that's not great. That's not great heads up driving there by the 29. That we'll see what the call is from race control. To me, that's the 42 car getting tight there and going up into the 41. And yeah. Trey Holmes as well. That's not great there in terms of wreck avoidance. Yeah, man. But how about that? 12 laps to go, and we're bringing everyone down pit road.
Yeah, we see. Oh, Gerald Campbell had already been on pit road. As there, something has happened to our reigning champion right there. But I believe, 7th caution flag of the night by my calculations there. Huge, as it involves, I believe that is the 5th yellow flag to involve competitors inside the top 10. Race off pit road going to be won by the 48 car. Chris Wright, Johnny Thomas, the 89 of Brent Jones in the 4th position. There's Matthew Weeks. And we see Vincent Isabella. It'll be interesting to note if he gets an EOL for that move.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear from race control here. Yep. All right. Yeah, so Vincent Isabella given the EOL initially. They're also reviewing the contact with Trey Holmes and Dallas Myhan.
That is unfortunate. So we're going to restart here with 10 laps to go. Nick Massey's been able to control the restart, and no one's really been able to wrestle the lead away from him at all.
Yeah, they really haven't. Nick Massey's been driving exceptionally well here tonight. You know, barring maybe that second stint where he kind of fell back a little bit. Outside of that, I mean, he's been up front. He's been well within the top 5, fighting for the lead, fighting for big positions here. Chris Wright's the only driver who's been close to him, I think, in terms of just consistently being up there all race long. That blinking could be an issue. We'll see, as the race plays out here. But again, I mean, this restart's going to be really intriguing because you have Nick Massey, Chris Wright, 2 chasers, and then our next chaser is now a little bit closer in Matthew Weeks in 5th. Scott Crump back in 7th, Van de Sant in 8th, Frankenfield 11th. I mean, how crazy would that be to have a race like that where Crump and Van de Sant, both who've had not super clean races and not just straightforward races, both finishing ahead of a lot of our regular chasers.
Yeah, a good day for Chad Frankenfield there in the 11th, considering the amount of damage he had on that race car there. That could be a saving grace for him in his title hopes, entering Charlotte there in 1 week. So we are going to get the 1 to go signal right here. I believe Nick Massey is going to start on the inside as we get the wave around from these guys just in front of him. Johnny Thomas, Chris Wright. Also want to talk about Chris Wright. He was involved in a crash as well today. You see the damage to the rear end after getting loose and then finding the back bumper with the side of the 64 of Andrew Rucker. He has now been able to remedy that, and the damage on that rear diffuser not really affecting his performance. Massey Weeks, I believe that's a guy we're going to need to keep an eye on, and he's kind of surrounded by guys he's perhaps not used to racing with as far as championship racing goes, and so I believe we're going to see aggression peak from that 11, perhaps that 90 car as well, as we are getting down to the single-digit lap number count of this race.
Yes, we are. We'll head back to Green Flag Racing with 9 laps to go, and ooh, there you go, the big blink from Nick Massey. That'll be interesting on the restart here, as to how guys are able to respond to that. So pace car's off. Massey went late last time by as well. We'll see what they decide to do this time. He goes a little bit earlier, gets back to Green Flag Racing. Good restart from Chris Wright, but not quite clear of Johnny Thomas. Johnny Thomas could make the move and be in second place by the exit of turn number 2.
Oh, yeah, you actually saw a little bit of a side trap by that 91 car to force the 20 on the outside. But look at Massey Weeks. We just talked about the aggressive level peaking there. He's been able to make short work of Brent Jones in that 89 car, and he's challenging there for third as 20 of Chris Wright's been able to get away from the 91 of Johnny Thomas, who's way high out of turn 4.
Yeah, Johnny Thomas, bad run off the corner. He's going to now go to the bottom, run side by side with Scott Crump. That's the issue. You know, you get a little bit tight there off the corner, and it's a tough time there. Matthew Weeks, though, is flying right now. That is a fast number 11 car for SMRI Productions and Pro Edge Racing. Matthew Weeks on the outside of Chris Wright. He'll get support from Brent Jones here.
Yeah,
we'll see, though, if the 89's enough to get him by the 20 of Chris Wright. As they come off of turn number 4, he's still to the outside. Brent Jones is now to the outside of the 20. Matthew Weeks should be clear just, I think, of the 20 car there. And he is. How about that from Brent Jones, pushing Matthew Weeks forward into the second position. Brent Jones was third there when that caution flag came out. How about that?
That is amazing, and I believe we are going to see an issue here. Yes.
Michael Goodman.
Is it going to be the 44 of Michael Goodman there on the edge of your screen?
Ooh.
Just comes Michael down Hostak there, in the 24 car. Yeah, he was not clear at all.
I think
want to fault that on the 24 car.
Yeah, same thing we saw, I think, with the Tate Lytle, Chad Frankenfield. Who else was in that? Scott Crump issue. Yeah, no EOL racing deal. That's guys going 3 wide, and it's just 3 cars doesn't necessarily go into turn number 1. I don't know if you can go much higher through that corner than what Michael Goodman did. So generally, yeah, I think I respect that call there from race control. And I mean, if he was the one who caused it anyways, he was the one who got the hardest hit out of that. So
yeah, and to be honest, I didn't see the 24 really do anything wrong, or the 42 right there, because there was a lane open on the bottom of the racetrack right there. So unfortunately, that's always a tough spot when you're just not really expecting that or knowing that. As we see, that was a good day for the 44 car. Unfortunately, not going to go to his liking as we were under caution there. I think we are going to restart here with about 4 laps, maybe 3. I don't think enough. I don't think we'll have a green-white checker, but we're getting down definitely to crunch time here. That 11 car, he was aggressive. He made his way. He started there, I believe, in the 5th spot. He worked his way all the way up to 2nd. I expect him to try and hang tough with that 48 car on the inside.
Yeah, definitely. That's this is going to be an interesting restart here. Matthew Weeks is going to have to react to that restart. Brent Jones could theoretically be in the best position here to run up into 2nd position here on this restart. Yeah, I mean, who knows? It could be, though, Nick Massey picking to start there in front of Chris Wright, so you get the support from the 20 car. They can line up that restart together. This could get very interesting here, as we'll probably head, I don't know if it'll officially be a green-white checker, but I would assume we're going back to green flag racing here when we hit 2 to go.
I believe if we have pit road was open last time, and it might be open up once again. If they get the single file, then we'll have 3 laps to go, but I don't know who to pick. I like the chances of the 48 car. He's been able, once he has had the lead, no one's been able really to keep it or to take it away from him. So
yeah, on a late race restart, I think the absolute best position you can be in, especially when you're not talking about a super speedway, it has got to be that pole sitter position, just because you get enough of a buffer. You can build that buffer on that initial restart by catching guys off guard. And especially on something like a green-white checker where you've only got 2 laps, it takes more than 2 laps for somebody to get back side by side with you to be able to kind of make a move to go for the overtake. So you just kind of run people out of time by the advantage you get there starting earlier than everybody else.
And a guy that's been one of the masters of that is that 48 car. He's just been able to take off and And no matter what racetrack we've been at, that 48 car is fast. And he, I believe, could be one to upset. I know we talked much about the 56 car, and rightfully so, but that 48 car is dangerous. A rookie this season.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of fail to mention that. I was going to say, we very rarely mention that, but Nick Massey, Chris Wright, both of them in their first Cup Series, seasons here in the Elite Racing Leagues, they're putting on exceptional performances here. Just absolutely incredible, and both of them look like they could make the Final Four here, barring unforeseen circumstances. Right now, I mean, Matthew Weeks to me is the biggest threat here to the 48 car, and as the 48 picks the bottom, interestingly enough, that now sets Matthew Weeks up to start with the 20 car behind him. So we could have a very intriguing kind of restart to this race here going on. I thought the 48 would try to line up as close as he could to that 20 car and try to line up right in front of it, but he opts out of doing so.
You also have to wonder some of these championship contenders like Brent Jones, who is not. How is he going to race these guys that are inside? He is actually surrounded by competitors that are championship contenders. So you definitely don't want to be the guy that perhaps destroys the chance, but at the same time, you're running your race as well. You want to make sure you have a good show. Look for that 89 car. He could push that 48 car to victory lane here and have a career day in the process.
Yeah.
So lining up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say this is going to be a really intriguing restart here with 2 to go.
It will be indeed a green-white checker. We have up to 3 attempts in the Elite Racing League. We'll see what happens. That 48 car can go at any time that pace car decides to peel off. He does so now. Nick Massey, Matthew Weeks, a ticket to Homestead is on the line. 2 laps to battle it here in Virtual Music City as Nick Massey gets a good jump there side by side for second behind him.
Yeah, side by side for second is perfect for Nick Massey because that slows these guys down as they have to run alongside with each other. Caution back out, though, already.
It did not take long, and that will take 1 strike out of the 3 attempts of a green-white checkered.
Excuse me, that was the one that brought out that initial, that last caution here. Yellow flag here comes out. Again, it was Michael Goodman, but that was the wrong Michael Goodman incident here. So a lot of cars going down here. Oh, Andrew Rucker just goes down. Tate Lytle involved in that. David Tooker.
Haney was a big piece of it as well.
Yeah,
wow. Tooker.
And it all kind of started there. Yeah, that was just a poor move by Andrew Rucker. Watch that 64 car just goes down, and he's not clear.
Yeah, and that just a little bit sent Harrison Talon, who brought out the last caution last week there, a victim again. And the 44 car, as well as several other cars, heavily damaged as a result.
Let's take a look
here. So pace car's going to bring in the 48 car once again. If we take a look there, watch the 64 car just nip the 23 as they enter turn 1.
Yeah, so here we go. This is on board with Harrison Talon. Down on the bottom there. Yeah, I mean, not much you can do on the 23 car. And just along for the ride after that.
Unfortunately, collecting 2 championship contenders, but both of them having already horrible days. David Tooker, who is now indeed in a must-win situation in Charlotte next week. Jared Rexing as well, I believe, I saw was involved in that.
Tate Lytle was in there as well, but he's obviously locked. He's okay. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you talk about chase drivers who've had a bad day. There you go, Jared Rexing. David Tooker especially, those guys could potentially be in must-win situation. David Tooker, I think, definitely is a must-win. Jared Rexing he was second in points coming into this race. So we'll see kind of how it plays out. I expect, though, he's going to probably be, my guess is by the end of this, maybe 8 to 10 points underneath the cut line. So nothing that's insurmountable, but he's going to need some help, though, I think, next week.
So during that shuffle there in entering turn 1, Brent Jones, who had started on the inside right behind the 48 car, was actually up to second. This is the best run he has had all season long, but I believe he's been put at a disadvantage there because we know that 11 car there is going to push that 48 car. The question is, do we see that 48 stay on the inside there, or Rashad, do we see that 48 car perhaps elect to start on the outside blocking that 11 car? As I believe, yeah, lights are still in the pace car, so we still have one lap to decide. What would you do in this situation here? Because if I am the 48 car, I'm considering that Brent Jones as well. He's had a great day so far, still not a championship contender. I don't think he'd be one to force the issue. And if I have him blocked on the bottom of the racetrack there with 11, that only leaves the 90 car that I have to deal with, and I believe I'm faster than him.
Yeah, that's where the question is, right? Is are you faster than the 90 car? Is probably. I think Nick Massey today has been faster than the 90 car. Are you, though, going to be free of, I'll say it how it is. Scott Crump's not afraid to go for the move, especially if the race wins on the line, the championship's on the line. Scott Crump's not afraid to go for that move. You want to have that 90 car starting right behind you. So I was almost going to say I'd rather have that 11 car. He's also an aggressive racer, Matthew Weeks. We saw, of course, what happened at Indianapolis, fighting his teammate for the win. You'll have some advantage. I'd take my chances with the 11 car starting right behind me, though, personally.
All right, well,
let's see what he decides, yeah.
Ooh, I'm holding my breath there.
I can see him picking the top. He is going to pick the top, isn't he?
I believe he's going to pick it up because I believe you want to put that 11 car, I think that's the aggressor, because if, as they cross the start-finish line right there, you will still have control of that restart. And so the bottom lane has been the preferred groove on restarts right there. And so if he can clear that 89, which I believe he will do so as the control car already, you've now put the 90 car at a disadvantage behind the 89, who has started in front of the 11 and the 90. I agree with this move made by the 48.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was actually just gonna say before he made that the best reason for going to the top there is that you can clear that bottom lane, and you hit the nail right on the head there, Alex. And that is the right move. I think Nick Massey knows that's the right move because he gets that jump on the restart. He can clear the 89, so then the 90 is entirely reliant on the 91 to push him forward. He doesn't get any kind of draft support, and the 11 is boxed behind the 89, so that's actually the best possible position you could be in there for the 48, so makes a ton of sense there.
So getting set for our second attempt at a green-white checker. Nick Massey has made his bed. He'll have to lay in it. Will it be the race-winning move, one that could propel him to the Championship 4 at Homestead in 2 weeks' time? We're in overtime on the Elite Racing Network. The 48 car gets a good jump. The 89 car stalls out, and they are side by side for second. That's exactly what that 48 car wants to see. Brent Jones and Scott Crump battling it out behind them.
All right, let's go. Oh, and you've got guys spinning.
Crump!
Big hit there.
To the outside wall there, and multiple cars are involved. The 90th Scott Crump, a championship contender, heavily damaged. That didn't work out for the 90 car at all, and I believe Alexander Van de Sant had a piece of the action as well. Let's take a look. There's 3 wide entering the corner. Does Chris Wright get into the 11? Or does the 90 come down?
Let's watch there. So Matthew Weeks, of course, the other driver with massive damage there. There's the 90 car at Scott Crump. Let's get the cockpit camera here from Matthew Weeks. So let's see if we can just spot over here, pause this video, grab on board with Matthew Weeks, and let's take a look here and see what it looks like. Remember, there's going to be a car to the inside of Weeks here. And that's just 3 wide racing.
That's 3 wide and 3 drivers going all for the same piece of real estate right there with 2 laps to go and a championship ticket to Homestead on the line. I mean, that is unfortunate there, though. I will say this, I believe the 11 car might have been the most innocent out of those guys.
Yeah.
The disagreement would be between the 20 and the 90, and the 11 just had nowhere to go.
I was going to say, the 20 of Chris Wright actually got out of that pretty nicely there as he's still running the 3rd position. It was Weeks and Crump both who got hit hard, and Weeks who got hit especially hard. He's had to tow back onto pit road, and I think it's day over for that 11 car, so it's whatever he can salvage points-wise in terms of guys. Fortunately for him, as you see just smoke billowing out of the front of that car, fortunately for him, it's 3 laps to go. No matter what we do here, I believe this will be our final green-white checker, as that first one was officially a green-white checker attempt. So,
no matter what, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and bring up those championship standings there as we ride underneath the caution for the 10th flag today. Take a look at everyone behind Tate Lytle at everyone besides that third place car, Nick Massey, because everyone you see there has been involved in an incident in tonight's race.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. Now that Matthew Weeks and Scott Crump have both been involved, everybody here has got some damage, had some incident. That's crazy. How about that?
Unfortunate there. The guy that's had a good clean race is the 48 car. He might end it with a trip to victory lane, his 3rd win of the season. And check out the guys behind him, because they're still going to have Brent Jones. And, that just goes back. That action, that issue that we just saw right there, it all boiled down to what the 48 car decided right there. Indirectly, that 48 car caused that crash. Only because of how he restarted there. That's what forced all that drama to happen. And that's why it's so important, because we knew that the balance of the race could change hinging on that one move made by the 48 car.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's crazy just how how this all plays out, and how it just kind of is a domino effect from guys all around you. So it's, we'll see, but this really opens up a lot of interesting situations right now just watching, because there you go, the 97 Alexander Van de Sant restarts in 5th position. Vincent Isabella, how about him? He's back up inside the top 6 here on this restart. Chad Frankenfield back into the top 8. I mean, this has been a chaotic race where guys who've been involved in massive crashes, massive incidents, are back into this because we've continued to have massive crashes.
That's right. Yeah, as you mentioned, Chad Frankenfield doing a great job. Jacob Adams, he was involved in a big crash there not less than 20 laps to go. He's inside the top 10. And Scott Haney, that'd be interesting to see every person that's actually been involved in an issue here tonight. I believe the only car without damage might just be that 48 car. This reminds me of Darlington there, where the entire field had an issue of 40 cars. Oh, man. But as you mentioned there, this will be the 3rd and final attempt at green-white checker. I'm not so sure that if we see a yellow flag before they face the white flag, if that would end the race or if they would just continue to green. But hopefully we won't get to that. This time the 48 car will start on the bottom of the racetrack there. Chris Wright, another championship contender, right behind him.
Yeah, interesting.
And then Alexander Van de Sant there in that 97 car. Championship contenders all on the inside. Guys just looking for a win on the outside lane. Who will prevail?
Yeah, the picking the bottom here is interesting. Obviously, that's a teammate there, or a friend at least, in the 20 car behind you, but it's also a championship rival. And I was potentially going to think that towards the end of this race, that kind of friendship goes out the window a little bit as you guys fight for the race win, but not the case here for Massey and Wright. We'll see, though, how well they coordinate this restart together, and it seems to be extremely well. Look at that. Beautiful restart from Chris Wright. Easily by. It'll be a 2-man race here for this race win.
48 car there gets a good jump in front of the 20 car, but not the biggest we've seen, as Chris Wright has been oh so close. He's been right there. Can he ask for more out of that race car as they are side by side behind him?
Brent Jones hanging on in 3rd place with a good gap as well, back to the guys in 4th position. Johnny Thomas running in 4th. How big would this be for Brent Jones as well? This could be huge, but the white flag is out on the racetrack. This race will be official no matter how it ends. Nick Massey leads the way from Chris Wright and Brent Jones.
Ticket to Homestead is on the line as the 48 car, Nick Massey, trying to get to the start-finish line there first. Chris Wright and Brent Jones, a distant 2nd and 3rd. That's exactly what that 48 car wants to see as they round turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Nick Massey, the rest of the field is singing the blues because he is going to victory lane, and with it, a ticket to Homestead. He gets it done in the Byrd 200 at Nashville.
Massey wins, Wright 2nd, and Brent Jones in the 89 car grabs 3rd position. What a drive by him. to grab that third spot. We're going to get a chance to talk to him up here in the booth for the first time this season, but Nick Massey will be fighting for a championship here at the end there. That was an incredible drive there by that 48 car. Really just dominant, incredible job there. Chris Wright also extending his points gap to the cut line. And the rest of this top 5. Johnny Thomas up there in 4th. Jacob Adams recovering to 5th as well.
Yeah, great run, but the only championship contender that did not have an issue today finds his way in victory lane. And Homestead, now just 2 weeks away from a shot at being a rookie and getting it done on the biggest stage here virtually for the Elite Racing Network. Congratulations to Nick Massey. His 3rd win comes and propels him to Homestead. I am most excited to talk to Chris Wright and Brent Jones. So Brent Jones, as you mentioned, there were Savs. That is a driver we've not talked to all season. An excellent day here for him.
Yeah, that's just a huge day, and let's as Massey goes through his celebrations right now on pit road, we've got him, and this is the first time in my memory I can remember. I don't know about your Cup Series history, but Brent Jones, podium finish here, top 3. What a drive! You did it there on merit, man. Congratulations, that was huge.
Cheers, man. I knew this was one of my better tracks in this league, and then just in general in the service since it came out, I knew if we got a long run and a lucky yell, we were going to have a chance, and by gosh, we had a chance. Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't know if you would cut out right there if you were done, but yeah, Brent, we were talking about you. You had a great run so far. Walk us through those last couple of restarts there. We saw you restart on the bottom when trouble broke out right in front with some of those championship contenders. What's it like racing against those guys, knowing a trip to Homestead is on the line for them? Did you race them any differently, or were you kind of just hoping for the best for yourself?
My philosophy has been all season, just trust your craft, and eventually it'll lead you places. Don't force it. Don't do anything stupid unless you have to go for it at a certain point, and that was the go for it point, and I was just trying to mind my P's and Q's there.
Yeah, well, Brent, I mean, it's the whole mantra for you over the course of the past season, especially the past couple of seasons, has just been continuous improvement, and we've been seeing it in terms of results you've been putting out on track, but just how good does it feel to see this season culminate in a podium with 2 races to go to end this season on a performance like this? That's got to be huge for you and show that the hard work that you've been putting in the past couple of seasons has been paying off.
Oh, absolutely. No, I got mute my game. I got to mute my game real quick. Yeah, but anyway, it was just amazing. Yeah, I felt this was the worst season of my career for a while, and then the last month it's really turned on. Not just with this series, but just in general, just absolutely incredible. I want to give a few shouts. That's all right for you.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Luis Gonzalez first of all. That guy has been a big inspiration for me. Has been supportive. We've ran a few paints together. Also, Do Good, and Westa Green, Frederick Cairo, and Corey Abbott, who just the past week. He's sponsoring the car for next season, both Xfinity and Cup. We're going to be together next year. And more importantly, everybody's had my back through thin and fat the last 3 years. Just so humbling, man. I never thought I'd be in this spot at any point.
Hey, man.
Well, congratulations there, Brent. That a job well done, a drive well done. We're very happy and hopeful for your future there. Hope to be talking to you more, not in the not so distant future, as you continue this string of very good luck.
10-4, man. I hope this ain't the last time either. I could live like this.
Heck yeah, man. No, it was great seeing you up here, and yeah, the improvement we've been seeing on track all season. Great to see that come out here in a podium position. I think, you probably heard it in the race chat, as well as you'll go into the iRacing text chat with all of the drivers. I think I've already been seeing it's a very popular finish there, man. Congratulations, this is huge.
Thank you. This one's for the underdogs. Never give up. Don't let everyone kick you down. Just keep fighting.
Yes, sir. Great job. Brent Jones there, P3, and that 89 Do Good Motorsports Chevy Camaro will bring in next our second place finisher there. Not quite the win to lock yourself in, but a lot of points on the board here tonight is going to help you kind of elevate yourself well above that cut line. Chris Wright, probably still feel pretty good about that night as a whole. Wasn't the cleanest. Got involved in a couple of craziness there, as I think just about every chase driver did. But to come back, finish P2, got to be pretty happy with the overall result.
Yeah, we were really good tonight. We were top 5 most of the race. I felt like we got wrecked there when the tire strategies were a little different. People on tires just trying to blast through and got us turned, but we were able to get away.
It was really loud in here.
And then made our way up to 11th, and then whatever happened up there at the front pack, we came off pit road and ran in the top 3 after that. And that green-white checker deal, Matthew's pretty upset with me, but I think when he looks at the replay, he'll see that I didn't do anything malicious wrong. I held my line, and him and the 90 got together. Scott's already told me that, he didn't know that we were 3 wide, so he just turned in, and there Matthew was, and that whole deal. But it was a good night. I'm really happy with the speed we had in the car, and like you said, the points deal when a lot of those guys up in the top 6 or 8 in points got wrecked out.
Chris, I want to talk to you about heading into next week here. You got one final shot. A lot of your competitors actually found trouble here. How do you feel about your chances as we see Charlotte coming up here in the windshield here? How do you feel about your shot of perhaps getting that 20 car to the championship 4?
We'll see. Charlotte, tonight, if we could have went green, like we went green that one run, and there was the cars start to handle, and it starts to kind of to thin out. Next week in Charlotte, being a straightforward 1.5 miles, I look for it to be a pack race type deal that we've seen a lot this year. So anything can happen. The big one could strike at Charlotte, as awkward as that may sound to hear. Like in these cars, I mean, we're so packed up, it would be nothing unusual to see a 20-car wreck on a restart and start around the top 5. So, I mean, anything can happen when we get packed up.
Hey, man, you still have a great shot, of course, to make that championship 4 going into next week. Just want to give you a chance here to make some shout-outs on the air. It's been a great season for you stepping into these Cup Series cars, stepping into the Cup Series here in the Elite Racing Leagues, and you could see here in your very first season making that championship 4. Want to give you a chance to make some shout-outs and just finally touch on what a season this has been.
Yeah, it's been a good season. I think we have the most top 10s of anybody, but we just haven't gotten the wins. It's as good as it could be with this car and everything that happens. You got lots of recoveries and everything. I do feel, one thing I didn't hit on there. I feel good about our spot with the guys that had trouble next week. We're going to have a bit of a cushion. I think Tooker after tonight is pretty much eliminated because he no longer can win an in because he missed the first race of the round, I believe. So his run tonight, I think, locks him out.
Possibly.
Nick's locked in now. I believe Tate's locked in, so that's 2 spots we're racing for. But yeah, I want to thank everybody at Walmart. I want to thank you guys, the production. I've gotten to get into the broadcast side of things there on the Xfinity car. It's a ton of fun, being a broadcaster, and a whole new appreciation for everything you guys do, everything Chad does for the league. But everybody at Walmart, store number 1259 in Corbett, Kentucky, Belly Up Sports, Chairgating, everybody on the team. Jake fought back and had a good run tonight. Response Energy came on board tonight, for the season, and I know they're a league sponsor as well. And Chad for running this league, man. Chad runs so many different leagues. New F1 league starting up. Everybody wants to run F1. Come out and do it. Show us who's got some speed. Get some of these some new guys in there for the F1. And thanks to you guys again. You guys do awesome with these broadcasts.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again there, Chris Wright. Second place finish, plus 15 to the cut line coming out of this race. That was just confirmed there by the Elite Racing League. So in a pretty good position heading into to next week. So best of luck there, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you then. All
righty. I'll try to come back and see y'all again for the end of the year.
All right. Chris Wright there, second place finisher here tonight at Nashville. However, race winner, we're going to bring him in here, and what a drive there in pretty dominant fashion, especially in the second half there. Nick Massey, just an incredible job there. You were one of the few multiple race winners we had earlier in this season. You grab, I believe, your 3rd win of the season. It could be your 4th. I don't quite remember. I think it's number 3, but you do it in the best possible timing and in such an incredible and impressive way. Grab that win. Talk us through tonight some of the chaos that was going on with some of your chase rivals, if you kind of were aware of any of that, and just how you were able to put it all together with that string of late green-white checkers.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully it was pretty exciting there at the end. But yeah, I was able to stay out of trouble tonight. You know, I saw all the other guys I was racing in the playoffs, as you mentioned, just have some issues, like Scott and Chad and Weeks and even Chris, a couple issues there. So, you know, I just knew if I got a solid finish, I'd probably be in pretty good shape here the next couple weeks, or the last race of the round, I should say. But yeah, it just kind of worked out. It seemed to, at the end there, all the chaos seemed to be right behind me in my mirror, so I was able to stay out in front of it there, fortunately. You know, it's nice to come out on the other side of one of these deals. But, you know, whenever I'm leaning, like last week, I thought it fell into my lap. You know, I thought, probably get the win there and then get the slew of cautions at the end. And then so I thought the same thing was going to happen here when I saw these yellows start to fly. And it's nice to finally be able to come out on top of one of these caution-ended races here.
No, I had to remind Rasav and myself, because when we look at your stats there, it's weird to say that you're a rookie in this field, and but you're driving like a veteran one that's now on the brink of their very first championship. What do you think is in store for you these final 2 weeks? I mean, Charlotte, you don't have to worry about, but what are your odds of winning the championship at Homestead? How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome coming here, against this field's stacked. I mean, there's a handful, there's a good amount of guys that can go out there every week and, win the race. And especially in these next gen cars, it kind of throws a wild card at, some of these races. And I didn't think I was going to be that great in them because, just doesn't really suit my driving style. And be sitting here with 3 wins as we get to the end of the season is pretty awesome. But yeah, it's, I'm really happy I don't have to go into Charlotte points racing next week because, I think that's going to be, almost like a Dega or Daytona. It's going to be, a lot of side-by-side racing, pack racing. It's going to be almost wide open. So, I mean, that's, anything can happen there. So I think I got a pretty good shot at Homestead. I think Homestead's one of my better tracks in these cars. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure. And I know, Tate's tough and whoever else is going to make it, it's going to be tough there too. So looking forward to going forward and racing for a championship in my rookie year here. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely, man. And you get a chance to, like you said, avoid some of the chaos at least next week and, just relax a little bit before the championship finale. So before we let you go here and celebrate this win, though, I want to give you a chance to make some shout-outs on the air.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout-out to all my teammates, Chad, Scott, guys at 90 Motorsports. I mean, I think we've won – I don't even know how many races we've won as a team this year, but it's a decent amount. So that's pretty awesome. And hopefully we can close out the season with a championship here. Hopefully Chad can make it into the championship race. We can get 2 team cars in there. Or Scott makes it, we can have 3. But shout out to them. Shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Hopefully it was exciting tonight. It seemed like there was exciting. A lot of action going on out there. And shout out to my friend Jeremy for putting the car together.
All right, man. Well, once again, congratulations. You're going to go fight for a championship in 2 weeks' time. Enjoy this win, and yeah, we'll hopefully be speaking to you there in a couple weeks' time as potentially an elite racing champion.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Nick Massey there, your race winner here tonight at the Byrd 200 at Nashville Superspeedway. I mean, what a crazy event that was, Alex, wasn't it?
I mean, when I look at this race here and taking a look at our top, 10 right there, I mean, there are some guys that had some great runs. There's some stories of redemption right here. But when I think about the championship grid, it all boils down to something that we saw here tonight, which we can't see next week, and that is mistakes. We've seen mistakes. We've seen accidents that are just plaguing drivers and their ability to get good runs. I mean, next week is going to be a must-see event. You make sure you guys mark your calendars. It'll be 8:30 again, Eastern Standard Time. That'll be the last shot for at least 5 contenders, all competing for. There'll be 2 spots up for grabs there to try and get in. But we cannot see what we've seen out of the last 2 weeks now, and that is just mistakes by what are supposed to be the best drivers of the season so far. And some of it has just been bad time on lakes, but that's just that's going to make next week a must-see event because we cannot afford to see the wrecked cars that we saw here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to minimize your mistakes. You absolutely have to. It's going to be so crucial, and we've seen guys with bad luck, with bad mistakes throughout this round, and the pressure is getting to guys. I was kind of saying earlier in the broadcast, it does get to you. There is a lot of mental pressure that you put yourself underneath to perform here in these situations. So it all comes down to next week. And while I don't have a graphic for it here, I can certainly tell you guys what that chase picture does look like here. So I mentioned it briefly to Chris Wright, but Tate Lytle, Nick Massey, obviously both locked in with victories. Chris then up from the cut line by plus 15, so he should be in a relatively safe position, barring a big incident that I think would totally take out that 20 car. And that's now when things get very interesting. So David Tooker, all the way back in 9th position, minus 41. We'll have to check and confirm with the league about his eligibility because he may not be able to make it on the win. But from Jared Rexing in 4th position back to 8th position, Matthew Weeks, there's 3 points separating all of those drivers. Jared Rexing, Chad Frankenfield tied at the cut line. Scott Crump, 1 point off the cut line. Alexander Vanessant, 2 points off the cut line. Matthew Weeks, 3 points off the cut line. That's all that's in it for those guys trying to make that final spot. This is going to be intense next week.
Oh my goodness. It's no Martinsville that we see with the Cup race, but it's definitely going to be a must-see event. I want to give a congratulations in order to Nick Massey there once again. He'll be fighting for a championship here. Everybody else singing the blues at Nashville Superspeedway, and they definitely came as we saw 8 of our 9 championship contenders all have an issue here tonight. Want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to be sure to join it with us here on the Elite Racing Network. Also want to thank our partners there, Blue Egg, Cedar Point Response Energy Drink, as well as Byrd and JoinAPS.com as well. Everything that they do for us to bring you some great racing is much appreciated, and we are so glad to have them on board here as we are getting toward the end of this season here. But from all of us at Nashville Superspeedway, we hope you enjoyed tonight's premier event. Another congratulations in order for that 48 car, Nick Massey. A multi-win season continues to put him in victory lane and one with a shot at championship at Homestead in 2 weeks' time. But from all of us here for Elite Racing Network, so long. We will see you next week at 8:30 at Charlotte.